Hey, Brad Ward here. Ward's Auctions and Bud Haynes Auctions. We're going to do something a little bit different for this sale. The idea spawned from the COVID and the fact that the last auction, the April auction, we could not have a live viewing, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to have a live viewing for this premier auction in August 22nd, 2020. It's currently bidding right now as we're filming this. So then we just decided, we did end up deciding that we are having a live viewing. But during the course of all the conversation, it did occur to us that, well, 75 or 76% of our client or buyer base, it doesn't come in anyway. They're distance buyers, BC, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, out of country as well, mostly in Canada. But they don't have the opportunity to come into the building anyhow, so they never see the viewing. And so I thought it might be an opportunity to show through video a more not detailed walkthrough of every piece. That would be prohibitive in and of itself, but more so than our generic walkthrough that just sort of walks you through the building that gives you an overview. You know, that's fun. It doesn't really give you any details on the firearms. Awesome pictures. We have pictures on there. We got descriptions in the catalog, and so that's doing its job. But you know, you can't hear it cycle. You can't see the lockup. So that's sort of the idea behind these videos, so that if I hold a piece and I cycle it, you can listen. You know, you experienced guys, you can hear that. You know, we're gonna have the camera closer. You can see if I do that with the cylinder, is there wiggle? Is it locking up nicely? Is the trigger crisp and clean? You know, we're gonna do a little bit of that. So we're gonna experiment. This particular auction, because also not only do we have a lot of quantity, we also have quality. So I want to show you that you can bid with confidence on the pieces, and I also want to show you which ones that maybe you can't. So certainly your feedback is going to be appreciated to see if you thought it was useful or not. And we're not going to have this intro on every single video because we're going to do them in groups. So this group in front of me is 100 prohibited 12.6 class handguns, and so that's going to be one little video, 5 or 6 minutes, whatever, and then we'll cut, and then we'll do the next chunk, because the prohibs are all your 100, 200, 300, 400, etc. Your restricteds are your 50, 150, 250. Also going to do the long guns. We'll do those in sections, you know, like lot number whatever is between lot number 0 and lot number 100. So let's not ramble on. Let's do them, and then like I said, this is the first time for doing it, so let's just grow together and see what you think of it and see if we want to do it in the future or not, and kind of go from there. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and let's just get on with it. Okay, this is the 50 grouping, lot 50 through the alphabet grouping of restricted, and there's actually not a letter on this one. This is just literally lot number 50 on the Benelli, and this is a fantastic, restricted because of barrel length, of course, on the and it is a 14-inch barrel on the M4, and it is, of course, an extendable stock or retractable stock, pistol grip. I don't think it has any miles on, any use on it. I mean, look at inside there. I don't think it's ever been fired, to be quite honest with you, and it is just an awesome piece. I wish it was not restricted, and it's silly, but you know, Canadian laws. Okay, 50 Alpha on the P38. Let's have a look at this together. Nice crisp finish on it. Got some proof markings down there. Original grip style on it. Well described. CYA serial number there. Matching P38 there. No reason to think that there's going to be any cycling concerns on this one. I shouldn't say cycling. It's not like we're shooting it, but we're feeling it. We're listening to it, testing the trigger, cycling the action a little bit, popping out magazines. Like we're just, the magazine looks like maybe it came from something else. It's definitely got more sort of patina, although maybe there was just a bit of moisture in there at some point and it's got left to sit inside there. But I think you got what you see is what you get kind of in a piece on this. There's no reason to think there's any mechanical concerns that you need to be worried about. On that one. On the Nambu Type 14, don't get lots and lots of these, but we have seen them in the past. This one's got an oddity because there's this little clearly defined piece missing out of the grip that, you know, did somebody carve something in there, their initials and their lover's name, and then it ended up falling out? I don't know. You got the manufacturing and date markings on there. Most of that is described in the catalog. That's not our intent to show you all that. That's all in the catalog already. We want you to hear things, triggers and stuff going. See if we can get that magazine out of there. It's going to be a thing. There we go. That was not all that graceful, but a nice little representation on the Japanese piece there. On the Taurus, this is a 92 knockoff, if you will, for lack of a better term. On the Taurus, it's not old. This has got not a lot of miles on it. It's a little bit. It definitely has had some use, but not a whole bunch. It does have some storage condition, and it's only on the slide lock / slide release where there's a little bit of surface rust on there, and I don't know why it affected that and nothing else. If you got that lucky that there was just a couple droplets of moisture during a storage situation, but otherwise, it is a very low use piece, and you can almost buy that as being new. Now here's a rarity. We're not going to rotate the cylinder on this one. I don't know if it's ever been rotated. If it has, it's barely. This is an engraver's sample from Colt. It's got some names of the engravers on there. It's well described in your catalog, and 45 caliber, and so you got different types of engraving on there, emblazoned on the side, single action Army, and then you got those engravers' names on there. And this is a good collectible piece, so we're not worried about the action. I'm not going to start cycling it. It probably has been, like, is there a tiny, tiny little indication of a cylinder ring? I'm sure at the factory they have to have at least one cycle of it. And so that's a collector piece. That is as neat as it gets. On Echo, Ruger Mark II, bull barrel, heavy barrel on it. Target sights, not the long barrel. Target sight on it. Black checkered grips. I'm not going to pull the trigger on it because, again, we do have rim fire on that one. And much as dry firing is not awesome, it's really not awesome on a rim fire. Target adjustable rear sight, but I have pulled the trigger before with the snap cap in it, and it is a nice crisp trigger, and you're hardly seeing any wear in there. So buy that, bid on that one with confidence. The Irma, you know, I guess I call it a Luger knockoff. I'm sure that's what it's intended to be. And this one is in 22 LR. The front sight blade is missing. You'd have to make one. I doubt you'd be able to order one off the shelf too easily for it, but easy enough to get one made on that one. So we have I'm going to take this tape off of here. I know that's not going to be very graceful in the video here, just so that we can do that. And we do have, you know, there's no reason to think there's a bunch of use on that one there. If I'm moving around too quickly, I apologize for that. I don't know if I'll be able to get that tape off of there, but oh, there we go. And but I don't think there's a bunch of use on this piece here. Irma LA22 on the side there. Serial number is nice and crisp. Everything's original as far as finish goes. Virtually no wear on it. And you do get that extra magazine. We'll make sure we get those labeled up before we put them away. On Gulf, percussion, adjustable sights. This is a Thompson Center Arms 45 cal. I'll bet you $1.50 that it's never been used. I mean, I don't see any residue on that nipple. You know, I think it's been sitting in the safe. It's been having fun with the set trigger on this one. And the brass accents on it. Target sights, there's the ramrod. So I don't think it's ever been used. Let me just see what I've done here with the trigger. And because for some reason, and I doubt this thing's got a safety on it, but I am not having the trigger fall reliably right now. And so again, by way of full disclosure, I'm sure it's something minor, but it is there. The next one on Hotel, it's a percussion. It's never been assembled. This was probably one of those kits. Black powder only, Italy it says. No sights. It's probably a kit, and most of it is long gone. So buy accordingly. It's still a registered piece, so it's still a firearm. But you're missing pieces, and I don't even think the mounting screws are in there. Ramrod's not there. Trigger group is not there. So clearly never been fired. It was probably a kit that got this far, and unfortunately the rest of the kit is missing. One of the favorite pieces in the sale. And again, excellent condition. Survival rifle, lot number 50 Juliet, M4 survival rifle, but not in 22 LR like most of your survivals are. This is in 22 Hornet. So a nice usable caliber. And these were a Canadian manufactured piece and issued to US and American Air Forces. And so I don't know if this one was ever issued because it's in too good a condition to have any miles on it. It is threaded on the top for optics. Is that original or not? I don't know. It's got a rear adjustable Lyman peep sight, fixed front sight, and you can see that the condition is quite impressive. You push on this little button here to slide the stock back in. So it is restricted. Probably because of overall length when you fold it up, but I am very smitten with that one. That was Juliet. Kilo on the SIG, virtually new. This is a SIG 226R Elite. You can see it still has the hanging tag on it. It's possible it hasn't been used, or if it has, it is, I mean, even inside there, I don't know if the camera is going to get in there, but I'll tell you what, I see one little nick on the one little rub on the ramp, the feeding ramp. I don't see any residue. You know, somebody cycled a couple things through, but didn't more than a couple shots. That's it. So we're talking about really a new piece. Not a lot to talk about on that. That's on Kilo. On Mike, on the Enfield, and what we have on this one here, 38 Smith & Wesson, of course, number 2 Mark 1. I assume. I don't know. I don't remember for sure how we cataloged it, but this has been redone as a presentation piece. Long after it was a service piece, or at some point somebody refinished it and plated it, nickel plated or something like that, to give to their regiment leader, somebody who was retiring, something along that line. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go through the motions, though. That's why we're here. So you're indexing, because as a firearm, it feels very nice and solid. Indexing is good. I mean, look at that lockup. It's very nice. Very consistent. Triggers, of course, they're crudish, but there's nothing wrong with it. I'll tell you that. Let's see how we do when we open up. Yeah, ejection is nice. It's actually mechanically a very impressive mechanical piece. No lanyard ring on it, but the threading is there. So I'm assuming it was a presentation piece at some point. The Smith & Wesson Victory, battle style finish on this one, with the expected marks on it that you would see. Fixed sights, got the lanyard ring on there, nicely marked on the bottom, serial number. Mechanically, let's have a little play with that. Indexing, I mean, that it locks up quite respectably, better than respectably. Hardly see any movement there at all. Again, you're not expecting miracles out of the trigger, but it is exactly what you would expect. So mechanically, no surprises, and that's the point I am trying to make. It's November. Papa on the new service in 455. See a lot of worn bluing and then turning brown. Colt branded checkered grips there. Some nice proof marks and so on around them. Fixed sights, of course. That's not really part of what we're trying to show you. New service is on the side here, marked as 455 Eli. More markings on there. And then let's listen. Very positive in its indexing. Is it a little loose in the lockup? Probably well within the norm. We've seen better, we've seen worse by a long shot, that's for sure. Let's pull some triggers here. And again, you're not expecting miracles out of a trigger like this, but you are getting consistency. It's exactly what you would expect. So what you see is what you get on that one. And I don't think you're going to have any surprises mechanically that you can't predict from what I've just shown you there. Quebec, a little fun little pair of ordnance. This is 45 ACP and a 1911 knockoff. Did I miss one? Oh, this mag goes with that one. Sorry. Okay. So this gets a second mag, and does have the para logo on the bottom. So those are both para mags, but each with a bumper plate on it. It's got a match barrel. Is that a Para's version of a match barrel? Probably, because it has their logo on the top. So it'd be good. It's not going to be a Bear or Wilson custom, but it's good. 3-dot fixed sights on it, skeletized hammer and trigger with a stop on, adjustable stop on it, and branded grips on there. Checkered back strap, smooth front. Let's have a little feel of the action or the trigger. Nice, very sharp release on that single action, because it is only a single action. Feels nice and tight. Lockup is good. I didn't mean that lockup. I meant that lockup. When the lugs come in. So it's used. There's no doubt about that. It's used. Got some wear marks on it and so on, but I certainly wouldn't call it abused by any means, and I think you'd be happy to own that one. On the Browning, the two-tone Browning. Let's have a closer look at this one, because I don't remember since we cataloged it. It's been a long time. 9mm Luger. This is a Browning brand name. I think it looks like new. We got sort of a titanium frame finish, and then a standard dark, almost black blue slide. Crisp lettering, plastic checkered grips, and obviously includes the one mag. It's got a lanyard ring. So this is a newer piece, and I think you could pretty much buy it as a low use piece. Is my opinion. I don't see much in the way of evidence of usage in there or anywhere. Not even holster use to speak of. Little tiny bit. And so I think you can buy this one as a good retail piece. On Sierra, one of my more favorite go-to strikers on the Smith & Wesson M&P series. This is in 40 cal. And the shorter length. It does have the under the rail for the putting a flashlight or a laser on there. This is not a textured grip as much as there's a wrap on there. So this is an add-on. You can peel that off with the little finger grooves on it. That can come off. Got the one magazine to go along with it. And I don't think there's very many miles on this one either. Fixed sights on this one. And I think you could buy this one as a low-use piece as well. I mean, look at the top of the magazine. Still has some chalk writing lines on it. The feed ramp is clean as a whistle. I think that you're pretty much buying this as a very low mile piece. On uniform, Sig Mosquito. Look at the fun camo on it. It looks like what's that the kids have? The do I want to say Warhammer? I forget now exactly, but it looks kind of like that. Very pixelated looking finish on it. The kids will correct me anyhow. 3-dot, probably glow in the dark almost fixed sights. And again, this is a wrap, probably the same consigner as the Smith just before. That's a wrap that you could take off, but it's kind of neat. Gives you the finger grooves on there, a little bit of texture, a little bit more size to it because of it adds a bit of wrap. So if you have man-sized hands, I got little girly hands, so but it still seems to fit me. It's good. It's a used condition, but certainly not overused by a long shot, and certainly not abused. So we won't take it apart. Cycles nicely though, and I don't think there's any reason to think that you're not buying a low use. In fact, this is a threaded barrel, so you can put on a accessory. So if you're finding a little bit too much kick from your 22 LR, you can put a compensator on there. Wah wah wah. Obviously a joke. Let me screw that back on. Lot number Tango, we have a Glock 22 two-tone, and I'm going to guess that all this is added on texturing, which is kind of fun. You got that texture tape that goes on there, and it's kind of a brown bottom and the traditional dark blue top, or black top almost, 40 cal. I don't think, again, you're going to find something that's got a bunch of use to it. I don't see a bunch of schmutz inside there. Even the feed ramp is clean as a whistle. It just feels to me like you're buying a low use. Somebody bought it. Like we all do. We've all been guilty of buying pieces and having not a lot of use on them. And you do have provisions there for adding on a flashlight or something along that line. Tango Victor Ruger GP100. These are popular. They'll be in 357 on the Ruger 100, GP100. Fixed front, adjustable rear. A little bit of a cylinder ring, but not much. Not much in the way of what you would consider any holster use. It's got the finger grips on there. So I don't think you're dealing with something with a bunch of use on it either. And these do have a nice trigger. I have owned a couple of these in the past. Oddly enough, I do tend to rotate my stuff around, so I don't have it now. And mine was in stainless. And so again, just the evidence of the minor cylinder ring just says to me that not a lot of use. And again, inside, you can see it's been used. There's no doubt about that. There's some residue. There's some evidence of use. But there's no reason to think that there's any sort of abuse. All your indexing is good and lockup is good. There's no obvious gouges or whatever. Whiskey. Here we go. Earlier piece here. Now this one here, you'll see we put a little bit of the in the write up, so you don't need to get into it. But you can see how that logo looks like a Smith & Wesson logo. That is not an accident. Model 1914, 455 rev on this one. So let's just check out the mechanics. It seems to me that it almost, I wanted to say that you had to help it into index. Yeah, see there? Every now and again, like that one there, I should shut up. That was good. 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 It's just like taking your car into the mechanic. Been acting up all week, but now it runs fine. But that one, and I was talking. Every now, just the tiniest little tiny bit that didn't quite catch into the indexing. Not a big deal. You just need to do something about that. Heavy trigger on these, but again, that's normal. That's to be expected. And there we go. Nice positive ejection on there. 1914 branded grips. Crisp, clear checkering on there. So mechanically, it feels pretty good. Just that little tiny little bit of indexing issue that you need to look at. And again, we can't show you every last little thing. That's not the intent. We're just trying to help out a little bit those that can't get into the building and view on X-ray. Another Colt piece here. 1892 New Army and Navy 41 caliber. Nice branded grips. You can see it's used. There's some wearing on it, but it's certainly not overused. A lot of times you see something of this age, it's not going to look anything like this. It's not going to look anything like this at all. It's got nice indexing. It's really quiet. It's a different type of mechanism altogether. Indexes, single action is good. Opening it up. You see some, it's worn on there. Is there pitting? I don't think it's pitting. I think you're just dealing with a finish issue there. That's not issue. It's just worn. It's just older. Colt DA41 emblazoned on the side there. Lanyard rings at the bottom. So no surprises. I think that anything that we showed you there is evidence. I think it dots the I's. It doesn't mean that if you have a question, you can't let us know on a specific marking and so on. That's not really the intent of the video. On the Yankee lot, on the Army Special, 38 Special in this one. And again, you got some obviously worn finish and so on, but it's not brand new. This is an older piece, and all things considered, I think when I'm this age, I hope I'm in half the condition. Let's check out the indexing. Very positive. It locks up each time, and index, it's solid lockup. Double and single action, as expected. It functions and it indexes and it does its job. But not to say that's not a Python trigger, but since we have enough Pythons in the building to use that as a yardstick, we'll use it. So use condition, not abuse condition. I think it's exactly what you see is what you get. It's not that it's there's no mechanical things that we need to be over concerned with. So I think, again, not to echo over and over again, but that's really the point I'm trying to make. On Zulu, on the officer's model, 38 Special again. This one has a missing screw in the front, at the rear of the front blade sight. So again, just a full disclosure, a little bit of cylinder, well, obvious cylinder ring, obvious where you would expect it. Softened checkering on the grips because it has been used. This is a representation of something that is more used. Fixed sights. Let's check our indexing. It locks up. Tiny little bit loose. Again, certainly no more than you would ever expect out of a piece of that age. Probably better than most. Double action. Very nice. Very nice piece. I think that's the whole 50 lot. And there's still more to come. I mean, we're just at the very beginning. Well, that's why we're doing these in chunks, so that we can not have a 12-hour video. And again, we're looking for your feedback. Hopefully that you'll find it useful. So let's get her down and try another one.